What if your very thoughts were waves, oscillations vibrating in the invisible ether of awareness? What if your emotions were not just fleeting feelings, but measurable currents of energy moving through the subtle fabric of your being? In the ancient mystery schools and in modern maps of mind, there is a secret that continues to emerge. Consciousness is not static. It flows, it rises, and it can evolve. Consciousness is not just what you think. It is the very field in which thought appears. It is not your name or your beliefs, or even your self-image. It is the presence behind the image. And like light passing through different filters, this presence expresses itself differently at each level of refinement. The sages called these levels veils. Psychologists call them stages. Mystics call them vibrations. But in truth, they are simply the varying densities of light within you. From the depths of fear to the silence of transcendence, the soul travels through many frequencies. Each frequency has its own signature, like a note played on the great instrument of existence. At the lowest levels, consciousness is heavy, contracted, and slow. It clings to survival, to shame, to guilt. As it rises, it becomes lighter, clearer, more radiant. It begins to recognize itself, not as the body, not even as the mind, but as pure witnessing. If you're already feeling the subtle shift within, pause, breathe, and write this affirmation in the comments. I rise beyond thought into light. If this resonates with you, like the video and subscribe to this channel for more explorations of soul, spirit, and the energy that moves all things. To understand the levels of consciousness is not merely an intellectual act. It is an invitation to self-transformation. Consider the map offered by Dr. David Hawkins, a pioneer who measured consciousness on a logarithmic scale. He proposed that every thought, every being, every state has a frequency. Shame calibrates at 20, fear at 100, love at 500. Enlightenment begins at 700 and above. Whether or not these numbers are exact, the insight is profound. The quality of your consciousness determines the shape of your life. But long before Hawkins, ancient seers had already traced this spectrum. In the Upanishads, consciousness is seen as a journey through koshas, layers of illusion, each more subtle than the last. In the Tibetan tradition, consciousness is a beam that moves through bardos, realms between realms. And in Kabbalistic mysticism, the ascent of the soul mirrors the tree of life itself. Each system speaks the same truth in different tongues. The higher the consciousness, the more expansive the light. Let us begin at the lowest frequencies, not to dwell there, but to understand. Shame is the first gate. It is a collapsing of the self, a disowning of one's own light. It says, I am not worthy to exist. This level is dark, cold, and silent, not with peace, but with abandonment. Those trapped here often cannot see beyond survival. Life feels like punishment. Spirit feels absent, Above shame is guilt, a state of inner conflict and self-condemnation. Here, consciousness turns inward, but only to attack itself. Guilt believes in punishment, in debt, in deserving pain. It carries the vibration of remorse, but not yet of healing. The soul remains chained to the past, unable to open. Then comes apathy, a state not of pain, but of numbness. It is the great forgetting. Here, one feels that nothing matters. Energy is flat, disconnected. This is where hope begins to fade, not because of despair, but because of absence. The inner light seems to have gone out, but even here, the spark remains hidden, like a coal beneath ash. And then, fear, a crack in the numbness. Though it is unpleasant, fear is a movement. It means something is still alive. It looks for danger, but it also searches for safety. Here, the energy begins to circulate. The soul stirs. The heart has not opened yet, but the walls are shaking. This level holds potential. It is a gateway to growth. Desire follows. Contrary to common belief, desire is higher than fear. It drives motion, creation, evolution. It is the fire in the belly, the hunger to live, to experience, to become. But it is still focused outward. It seeks fulfillment in the world, pleasure, status, power. The light is awakening, but it is scattered. Without guidance, desire can lead to obsession, addiction, and attachment. Yet it can also become devotion. When the soul tires of chasing, it discovers anger. Not just rage, but the force to break chains. Anger burns through apathy. It refuses victimhood. It says, enough. This level can be dangerous, but also liberating. It is the energy of Mars, the assertion of will. If it is purified, it becomes courage. And that is the threshold. Courage is the first frequency of expansion. Here, the energy begins to lift. The soul says, maybe I can. There is agency. There is choice. There is movement toward the light. This level is not blissful, but it is empowered. The journey truly begins here. From courage arises neutrality, a calm, balanced, centered state. One is no longer reactive, no longer addicted to outcome. Life is accepted as it is. This is the frequency of equanimity, of quiet confidence, of inner strength. It is not yet love, but it makes love possible. And then, willingness. The heart begins to open. The soul leans into growth. Effort becomes grace. Discipline becomes joy. There is trust in the process. This frequency allows one to serve, to create, to uplift. The light becomes visible in the eyes. As consciousness rises further, it enters acceptance. Not resignation, but true understanding. Here, polarity dissolves. One no longer needs to judge or resist. Life is seen as a whole. This is where peace begins to settle, not as an idea, but as a presence. From here, the vibration rises into reason, not just logic, but higher understanding. The soul begins to think in systems, in truths beyond opinion. This is the realm of philosophers, scientists, visionaries. Yet even this clarity is still a form. Beyond it lies love, not romantic, but unconditional. Love that includes. Love that liberates. Love that simply is. The higher frequencies, joy, peace, and enlightenment, cannot be fully described in words. They are not just states. They are states of non-self, places where the ego dissolves and the inner light becomes boundless. But even within these upper realms, there are degrees. Joy is not pleasure. It is the natural radiance of the soul when it is no longer afraid. It has no opposite. It is not reactive. It simply overflows. Peace is even higher. It is stillness, vastness, the ocean beneath all waves. In peace, time slows. The mind becomes silent. Awareness remains, but without commentary. It is not indifference. It is immersion in the sacred. And then comes the rarest frequency, enlightenment. Not a thought, not an emotion, not even an identity. It is the full merging with Source, the drop returning to the ocean. Here, there is no separation, no self, no other, no light, because the light is all. Few reach this state permanently, but all can glimpse it. In deep meditation, in near-death experiences, in moments of awe. When the veil parts for a second and only presence remains. Mystics have called this state by many names: samadhi, nirvana, turiya, the void, the light, the kingdom within. Science cannot measure it. Language cannot define it. But every tradition agrees. This state is the essence of consciousness, the silent witness behind all phenomena. It is not something we become. It is what we already are, when all illusions are burned away. And yet, the journey does not end there. Because even those who touch this light return to the world with a heart more open, a mind more still, and a presence that transforms. They walk among us, but not like us. They listen more deeply. They act more gently. They radiate coherence. Their consciousness uplifts everyone they meet. These levels are not rigid steps. They are flowing states. We move between them daily, even hourly. One moment we are in courage, another in fear, the next in love. But over time, with practice, with devotion, we stabilize higher and higher. Meditation, prayer, service, shadow work, all become tools to clear the lower vibrations and make space for the higher ones. The body also reflects these levels. At lower states, the breath is shallow, the posture closed, the nervous system reactive. At higher states, the breath deepens, the spine lengthens, the field around the body expands. The aura becomes luminous. You can feel it in others, the weight they carry, or the light they emit. Consciousness is not a concept. It is a transmission. And so, to raise your consciousness is not merely to be more spiritual. It is to become more alive, more clear, more compassionate. It is to tune your inner frequency until it resonates with truth. And when enough individuals do this, the collective shifts. That is why awakening is not personal. It is planetary. You are not your thoughts. You are the field in which thoughts arise. You are not your emotions. You are the space that feels them. You are not your body. You are the light that animates it, and you are not stuck. No matter what level you find yourself in, you can rise. With intention, with awareness, with love. The first step is to see. The second is to feel. The third is to choose. To say, I am ready. I am willing. I am not a victim of my past. I am a portal of light. And that light is infinite. The ancient mystics often taught in silence. They would gaze into the eyes of their students, saying nothing, because the highest truths are beyond words. But today, we have tools to map the inner world. We can measure heart coherence. We can study brain waves. We can speak of fields and frequencies. Science and spirit are converging. But the map is not the territory. The model is not the mystery. Ultimately, this journey is lived, not explained. You must sit with yourself. You must feel the rising and falling of your own mind. You must watch, without judging, the dance of your own light and shadow. Only then will the levels become more than ideas. They will become your lived reality. To live from higher consciousness is to become a mirror for others, not by preaching, not by correcting, but by being. Your peace becomes contagious. Your clarity becomes medicine. Your presence becomes a refuge. This is the greatest service, to raise your frequency not only for yourself, but for all beings. You do not need to strive to become enlightened. You are already that. But you must remove what is not you. Fear, guilt, illusion, programming. When these fall away, the light shines by itself. This is why the spiritual path is also the path of letting go. So now, pause. Close your eyes. Feel into the present moment. Beneath the thoughts, beneath the tension, beneath even the breath. There you will find it. The awareness that never changes. The light that never dims. The presence that never leaves. This is the ground of all levels. This is what moves upward, from form to formless, from identity to essence, from human to divine. If these words have stirred something within you, take a moment to write the affirmation once more. I rise beyond thought into light. It is not a hope. It is a remembering, a returning. And if this message resonates with your soul, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your own experience in the comments below. Because consciousness is not a destination, it is a journey inward, and that journey has already begun.